You may be a new shooter, a longtime gun owner, or even a police officer or soldier. No personal defense handgun is fully equipped without a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our new laser training video, The Laser's Edge. Crimson Trace.
Broadcasting nationwide, this is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of gun talk. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN. That's 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Or reach out to us via email at tom@guntalk.com. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All right, welcome again to Gun Talk. Having some fun today because we get to talk about guns and shooting and ammo and scopes and optics and holsters and belts, and it just never ends, does it? It just, we're having way too much fun. Getting to talk about guns, well, it's our hobby, it's our passion. For some of us, it's the way we make, a lot of people actually, it's the way we make a living, whether you're in the media side, the manufacturing side, you work at a gun store, a shooting range, you're an instructor. There are a lot of people who make a living off of the firearms industry, and we pretty much across the board are all very much committed to safety and responsibility, more so than a lot of people in the general public would understand or realize. I mean, our attitude is if you can't do it safely, we're just not going to do it. And we try to show by example, you try to live it, and without trying to be real preachy, we also try to make sure that everybody at the range we're with is being safe. And that can be a little bit ticklish at times. It's just kind of part of being a responsible person. Don't let unsafe things continue, I guess is where we go with that. I don't know, just kind of a little side trip I wanted to take there. When we're talking about ammo, it's an interesting thing. People think of ammo as it's just the thing you put in your gun and it goes bang. No big deal, right? Nothing to it. Simple. Metallic cartridges, 4 components. How difficult can that be? Reloaders understand. Reloaders kind of get into it and they say, wait, now there's a whole lot more to this than I thought. But actually, there's a lot to this that I didn't understand. And then when you get really deep into it, you find out there's a lot of cool stuff here that I wasn't aware of. Well, one of the people who really understands the cool stuff because he not only makes ammo, but he is a really seriously good shot, is Jeff Hoffman, who's the president of Black Hills Ammunition. Jeff's joining us right now. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey, Tom, I'm good.
What weather god did you guys anger to get all that snow up there in South Dakota?
Oh, we had a mess. It's been 13 years since it dumped on us like that, but we had, I think, 31 inches was the official tally on the level down here, and more in the hills, and dumped that in just over one day.
That had to have affected the wildlife populations. I mean, the news didn't cover that, but I kept thinking about, deer, antelope, and especially things like pheasants. I mean, that's got to have hammered it.
Fortunately, for the pheasants, this was limited pretty much to western South Dakota, and most of the pheasants are eastern or
right.
mid to eastern, so we're okay there. The thing that it really affected was cattle. We lost an estimated 30,000 head of cattle in just a small area here in South Dakota.
Jeez, that's incredible. That is really something. Well, I knew that you'd be plugged in on that through the various things you do outside of making ammo. But that kind of leads us to one of the questions I want to ask you about. You live up in the cold North Country, and you are a serious shooter. I mean, you work on the Sheriff's Department, you do a long-range shooting, and you've been doing that a long time. It's a passion, it's a hobby, it's a study of yours. And I want to talk, if you can, a little bit about, back when we shot, and we considered 300 yards a long shot for hunting, maybe it didn't matter quite so much. But now that we're taking longer shots, how much difference does it make, really, if you're shooting in really cold temperatures versus hot temperatures?
Well, it depends a little bit on who you listen to.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is the answer depends on who you listen to. The truth is that it doesn't make very much difference at all.
Okay.
I started in then on the department, they asked me to be a sniper starting in 1989. So I started studying all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I learned was that any sniper school you went to said for every 20 degrees of temperature, that will have a 1-minute effect. You need to start dialing your sights 1 minute for every 20 degrees of temperature change.
Really?
And
that
I
seems
studied
like
that a little bit.
That doesn't make sense to me. I said, that doesn't make sense to me.
It didn't to me either, and I studied it, and I found out the rule is true, but it's only true in a particular circumstance. It's true at 1,000 yards for a 7.62 weapon. So it makes a difference at 1,000 yards, but I'm not shooting deer at 1,000 yards.
Nope.
And actually, the rule is kind of a disservice even to snipers, because very little sniping is done at 1,000 yards, and the rule is only true at 1,000 yards for that caliber. With flatter shooting calibers, it's less true, and at shorter distances, it's even less true. The basic rule and what we teach snipers and I do teach is that it makes no difference at all no practical difference until you get to 500 yards. So that's the easy rule, is you can just ignore temperature until you get to 500 yards because it doesn't make that much difference. What I've found with a 308, with a precision 308, where you can really tell the difference of variables, it might make a difference of 1 minute once you get past 500 yards for every 20 degrees. So if you're zeroed for 60 degrees and you're shooting at 80 degrees, it even takes more than that. You have to be over a 40 degree or 60 degree difference before it makes any difference that you should allow for. And I don't know about you, but 600 yards is a long ways to shoot a deer with a 308. Yeah. I don't do it. I don't consider it sporting.
I wouldn't do it. And, of course, if you say you wouldn't do it, I sure would do it, because I've seen you shoot, and you're a whole lot better shot than I am. So what I hear you saying, and I've been out there on those windy plains with you, wind has got to be a much bigger factor than that. And people don't pay enough attention to wind, do they?
Wind is a big factor. There's a saying that I don't know who to attribute it to, but I heard it and it made a lot of sense, and so I remembered it. They say that the amateur is concerned with trajectory, the expert is concerned with wind effect. And that's really true, because trajectory is so predictable. Once you know your weapon, it's going to do the same thing every time, and even despite whatever temperature it is. But wind is a difficult deal because it varies. It's hard to judge what the actual wind velocity is, and then you have to take into account the angle, and then the effect of differing effect of distance, because the wind will have more effect at distance, and then you have to allow for variations in the wind. It might be different downrange than what it is where you're at.
Yep. I want to switch quickly over to your ammo, because I can't have you on here without talking about your ammo. I actually had a guy call the show about an hour ago. He was asking about using his .223 for deer hunting, and what would he want for ammo. And I looked on your site, and I said, well, right off the bat, I would probably suggest that load with the Barnes TSX bullet. That would be a really good deer load. The .223 actually is a pretty decent load for small animals, deer and antelope, isn't it?
Well, it's a controversial subject.
I know.
But that said, I've shot a lot of deer with a .223. South Dakota is one of the states where it's legal, and I've shot a lot of deer with a .223. I've got several rules. One, you have to use a proper bullet. You want to avoid the varmint bullets. Use a fairly heavy constructed bullet, like you mentioned, an excellent one, the triple shock bullet. And then the other rule that I always try to abide by is to make sure that I've got a good shot. I'm in a good position. Try to go for a standing broadside shot, so you double lung the deer. Right. And with that type of a shot, the deer doesn't know that he wasn't hit with a 30-06. It works really good. The other thing is, a lot of people use neck shots with bigger calibers. I've found from experience many years ago that the .223 just doesn't have enough shock power to reliably do that. You'll have some people that say it worked good for them, but there just isn't enough shock power unless you hit the jugular or hit him in the spine. The neck really isn't a good good shot with the .223.
Okay. Well, so what's going on with ammo? I mean, I know that you pretty much let everybody go this year because you were trying to starve the market of ammo, because I heard that on the internet, that you guys weren't making any ammo.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable year. Are we anywhere close back to normal?
I think it's starting to relax a little bit, but that said, we've got such a back order, and we're running overtime. Some of our loaders are running 55-hour weeks. Our operators are running 55-hour weeks. We're doing everything we can to catch up, but with the back order that we've got quite a hole to dig out of, and the continued demand, I think we're going to be running back orders all the way through 14. And yeah, I think it's going to ease up some, but it's still going to be tight through 14, I think.
Is there anything new that you're working on, or is it just a case of just trying to get the same product out the door? I mean, it's kind of hard to develop new stuff when you're just trying to catch up.
That's exactly it, Tom. There's a couple of new things we're working on, and I think a lot of companies are probably going to be in the same position we are, that it's really hard to come up with something new, dedicate the time and the R&D to it, and then have that product available while you're back-ordered on everything else. So I think this year there will probably be fewer new market introductions than other years, simply because everybody's concentrating so hard on delivering what's already ordered, and a lot of companies have cut back on what they're offering so that they can concentrate on things they're furthest behind on, and they've caught some heat on it. But I think that's probably the right approach, is just concentrate on getting the ammo out to the people that have it on order already.
You know, I explained it to somebody. I said, all right, here's the deal. You're a company, and you're running your machines full bore, and everything you make is sold. You don't have to sell a thing. It's already sold. Now, to introduce something new, you're going to have to shut down a line for a day, a week, several weeks, and during that time, you're not making any product off of that line that you could have been making and selling. There's not a lot of incentive to shut something down that's making money for you.
That's it exactly, and all we can do is hope that our loyal customers understand the situation. Everybody's doing their best to deliver ammunition, and I guess while we're talking about it, we could diffuse the thing about the Department of Homeland Security thing. People call up, and some of them get pretty angry thinking that all of our ammo is going to them. You know what? We don't have a single Department of Homeland Security contract. We sell quite a bit to the U.S. military, and no apologies there. Those guys, we've got a moral and a contractual obligation to take care of them, and we're doing that, plus taking care of commercial businesses as good as we can. But the idea that any ammo company in this country would intentionally slow down production or divert all of their production to the military, or not sing out, or divert all their production to the DHS, and not sing out if the government was trying to monopolize the purchases, that's just not happening. No. You know, all these gun companies and ammo companies are staffed with Americans. We wouldn't keep quiet on something like that.
Just wouldn't do it. We wouldn't do it. So what are you going to go hunting for this year?
Oh, my daughter and I got West River tags for western South Dakota to go hunt mule deer. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Okay. I got a pheasant hunt coming up where I'm going to go hunting with our good friends from Winchester and from Black Hills Shooter Supply, which is a different company.
Right.
Earlier this year, my younger daughter and I went antelope hunting, and she shot a real nice antelope. So we're already having a good year.
It sounds like it. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you spending some time with us and sorting out some of these rumors and also some of the ballistics of this stuff. It's about time for us to get together and shoot a little bit more. I need another lesson, man.
Well, you come on out, because we can practice that wind shooting. As you've seen, South Dakota pretty much always has wind.
I like it. The guy says, does the wind blow this way all the time? He says, no, sometimes it blows the other way.
That's exactly right. You know, come out this winter and we can practice that temperature thing we've been talking about. We'll park you in a snowbank and let you shoot at 600 yards and see if it makes any difference.
Well, thanks a lot. All right, take care, Jeff. Always fun, man.
You bet.
All right,
Thank
Jeff
you, Tom.
Hoffman, Black Hills Ammo, black-hills.com. Good guy's clearly a great shooter, a serious guy. 866 Talk Guns. What's on your mind?
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Hi, I'm Michael Bain. You know I hate cleaning guns, so anything that makes that job faster and easier is definitely a plus. And that's where Bore Tips come in. These reusable, lint-free cleaning swabs make cleaning a breeze. And the tighter-fitting Bore Tips do a better job on barrels than cotton mops or patches. Hey, it's a dirty job. Let Bore Tips help. To find a dealer, visit boretips.com.
What's that?
It's my Trijicon.
What's a Trijicon?
Only the best rifle scope in the world.
Says who?
How about the U.S. Marine Corps, Special Forces, Navy SEALs? You heard of these guys?
Sure.
Well, they're all using Trijicons.
Let me see it. Wow, this is really sharp.
And a lot of professional hunters are using Trijicon, too. You probably caught it on some TV and radio shows.
Yeah, I have heard some of them swear by their Trijicon.
I swear by it.
You know, I could have been a Navy SEAL.
Well, the closest you're going to get now is buying a Trijicon.
Hey.
Trijicon is the brand of rifle scopes that more and more hunters are swearing by. That's because every Trijicon is handcrafted using the finest optic materials. The bright aiming point can guarantee you a great hunt from dawn to dusk. Get your Trijicon at a dealer near you or visit them on the web at Trijicon.com. That's Trijicon.com. Trijicon. Brilliant aiming solutions.
Crossbreed Holsters is broadening our product selection to serve more of your concealed carry needs. With products handmade in the USA, like the Bedside Backup, gun belts, and of course our world-famous Super Tuck and Mini Tuck holsters, we understand what works, and we take pride in providing you with a quality product. At Crossbreed Holsters, we live and breathe concealed carry. We make and sell products that we believe in and products that our customers love. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com.
You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, the original nationally syndicated radio talk show about firearms, shooting, and your Second Amendment rights.
Putting more guns in people's hands actually does them a service.
Give Tom a call at 1-866-825-5486. That's 1-TOM-TALK-GUNS, or email tom@guntalk.com.
They're there to protect us.
Now, back to Gun Talk. Here's Tom Gresham.
Hey, just in a few minutes, we're going to have a guy who, got fired from his job for using a gun to protect himself. Didn't shoot anybody, but he got fired just the same. Saved his life. Well, we'll find out what his take is on that. First of all, let's talk to Doug in Colorado. He's on 3. Hey, Doug, when did you get into the gun rights movement?
Well, this isn't exactly when I got into the movement or anything, but back in the 60s, I started becoming real concerned, because I was reading Ayn Rand, and she taught us about economics and politics, and like back then during the Vietnam War, I was in the service, and like she said, back then the Republicans were called the Hawks, and then the Democrats, the left-wing ones, were called the Doves.
Right.
And she made this statement back then. She said, the Doves are screaming their heads off, and the Hawks are cooing apologetically. And then I have it, too, in her writings, where she called Romney, who was Romney's father, a soft-shelled politician. And so a friend of mine back then, because I saw, I knew about the economics, the Keynesians and the Marxist professors, and I listened to them talk and everything, and so a friend of mine in guns, he recommended for me to get a Ruger 1022 because to start out with that because it was somewhat jam-proof.
Right.
And but this is a little story about Dianne Feinstein back in the 80s. I was in California, and there was a woman. She was a daughter of a banker back in England, and some black gang. I don't know if they shot off her arm or whatever, but she lost her arm. But I called them the gang that couldn't shoot straight, and because they were using these Saturday night specials, and they would blow up in their hands or not shoot straight. Well, what Dianne Feinstein did, she got a thing passed where if they turned in their guns, they'd get $50 per gun. Well, what they did, those guns were useless, almost useless anyway, so they put that money towards other guns, better guns.
Well, that's what happens with some of these gun buybacks. People turn in cheap guns, get some money, and go out and buy more expensive guns. I mean, it's eyewash. It is political theater is really all it is. And, yeah, somebody pointed out, said, Dianne Feinstein, of course, wouldn't have gotten her push into politics without... I mean, she basically moved up on the issue of gun violence. When Harvey Milk got killed, she moved into the mayor's slot. And so her entire political career was basically based on gun violence, if you will. Kind of interesting little twist to the whole thing. Yeah, a lot of people actually were awakened by reading Atlas Shrugged. If you haven't read it, you might want to. It's still a classic. Always will be a classic, I'm guessing. It is certainly, it's one that people ought to read. Just, you may say, well, I don't agree with all of that. That's okay. But if it gets you thinking, that's a good thing. So, I mean, there you go. All right. You're working at a convenience store. And you know that the policy is you can't have a gun there. But you do anyway. And sure enough, guy comes in, robs the place with a deadly weapon. What do? Well, you're going to do what I'm going to do, what he did. And when we come back, we're going to talk to a guy who was faced with that, hear what he did and what the aftermath is, and you may even want to get involved and help him out. This is the true story coming up.
Tom Gresham's Gun Talk is broadcast nationwide every Sunday. If you can't hear Gun Talk where you live, call your local talk format station and clue them in on Gun Talk. Stay tuned. We're coming right back. Now broadcasting nationwide on radio, via satellite, and through downloads, iTunes, the Gun Talk app, and other podcast clients. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there. Shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. You can join us on Twitter @GunTalk. We have a conversation going on over there. I mentioned as we went to the break that this gentleman who's going to be joining us right now was working at a Shell station, convenience store. Guy comes in with a knife, says, "I will kill you." And our guest, Shannon Cothran, decided, "No, I don't think so. We're not going to be doing that." Pulled his gun out, and the guy said, brought a knife to a gunfight. Time to leave. Let's welcome Bear on right now. Hey, Bear, I appreciate you spending some time with us.
No, not a problem, sir. Not a problem.
So did that pretty much cover what happened?
More or less, that's exactly what happened, yes.
Now, how long had you worked at this place?
I had been there 10 years.
Had you ever been robbed before?
No, sir, I had not.
And obviously you knew that they had a policy of no guns. You carried a gun just because you knew, I'm guessing, that this could happen.
It was honestly only a matter of time before it happened. We've had 15-plus armed robberies in the area just since August 1st. I mean, statistically speaking, there's only so many convenience stores, and
yeah.
They had to get down to me eventually.
Yeah, it was just your turn. So describe this guy when he comes in. What did he do?
Well, first of all, he came in very heavily clothed, masked, gloves, comes immediately in the front door, draws the knife, and comes directly around behind the counter with his arm cocked back, and that's when he demanded money and threatened me.
So he was behind the counter with you?
Yes, sir. He was right at the edge of the counter coming in behind. I had nowhere to go.
Okay, so you're boxed in with a guy with a knife who could gut you like a fish. So what'd you do?
I took 2 steps back, drew my sidearm, informed him it was a bad idea and that he did not want to continue on this course of action, at which point he raised his empty hand, backed off, said, okay, all right, backed off, and went out the door he went.
What kind of pistol were you carrying?
Ruger LCP 380.
That'll work. And a lot of people say, well, that's not much of a gun. Well, just ran this guy off and did the job. All right. And then, of course, I guess the police show up, and they didn't have a problem with what you did?
No. They said I acted completely appropriately and within my rights.
Okay. Company had a different take on it. What'd they do?
They terminated me 8 hours later.
Now, you knew on the front end that was a violation of company policy, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And I loved, and I hope I got it right, your wife's reaction. You might just tell people how she reacted to you getting fired. Or I guess not your wife, it's your fiancé.
My fiancé, yes.
What did she say?
I couldn't tell you exactly, but she was not happy with the situation. Obviously, she was happy I came home.
Right. I heard that she was glad that you were alive to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
So when are you guys getting? Right. When are you getting married?
We are getting married in November, first part of November.
So you are less than a month away, and you do not have a job.
That is correct. Yes.
Well, that's one of those. Well, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, you're still around to get married.
So yeah, I get to show up. That's kind of important to me.
How did you come about deciding to carry a gun in the first place? What was that process to get to that?
Well, I got my carry permit as my 21st birthday present to myself, and I've more or less carried ever since then. But specifically, I work third shift at a convenience store, and it's Nashua has gotten progressively more interesting in the 10 years I lived there. And it made logical sense. I mean, I've dealt with people who are incredibly drunk, strung out on different drugs, mentally ill. Most of them are pretty reasonable, but I've definitely had the police there on more than one occasion, and it seemed like a logical conclusion that at some point in time I was going to need that extra layer of protection.
It's interesting. I have people who call me all the time. They say, well, it's against my company's policy to carry a gun. I say, yeah, but it's not against the law. They say, yeah, but I could get fired. I say, yes, but it's not against the law.
Correct.
You were balancing these two things. Was it a difficult decision for you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, always there's the concern over the loss of income, but at the end of the day, there are jobs out there if you're willing to work them. And I'm more interested in being alive to complain about having a job I dislike than I am having a job that is giving me a paycheck and ending up dead anyways.
So how do you feel about the company that fired you?
Well, again, I know, and I knew going into this whole thing that was their policy. Mm-hmm. So I don't really hold any ill will towards them for terminating my position there.
Right.
But if they're going to have a policy that prevents employees from protecting themselves, in my mind, that means they assume responsibility for our protection, and their policy of just give them what they want is not, in my opinion, is not always valid, and there's no other real security there aside from cameras.
Well, you know what's going on, really, is they're saying, honestly, it is cheaper for them to have you get killed on the job than it is to defend a lawsuit if you shoot somebody on their property. They're just looking at the numbers and said, if Bear gets killed, that doesn't really affect our bottom line. But if he shoots somebody, we could get sued. And so they essentially are saying, we don't really care if you get killed. That's what's going on here.
I am sure that the number crunching plays a huge part in their decisions. I mean, by which I mean I know that the number crunching plays a huge part in their decisions. Right.
Now, I don't know if you set this up. Somebody set up a website trying to get you a little bit of money before your upcoming wedding. I don't know how that's going, but we can certainly give out the info.
Well, that would be greatly appreciated. There's actually 3 of them One has been put up by 1 Million Mothers Against Gun Control. They have a well fund set up.
I love it.
And there's 2 on GoFundMe. One is just entitled The Shannon. That was actually set up by a friend of mine. And there's another one that was set up by a lady by the name of Tracy Gagnon. And that is, I believe, under the title of Help Bear Recoup Lost Wages.
It's GoFundMe, GoFundMe.
Yep, GoFundMe, that's correct.
GoFundMe.com. And if you go there, you can find, and your name obviously is Shannon, and is it Cothran, Cothran?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And also, but you go by Bear.
I go by either, but most folks call me Bear.
Okay. Well, I hope that you can get a little wedding and honeymoon money out of this thing, and that works for you. And I appreciate you sharing the story, but mostly what I'm glad for is for people to actually think about this, because I got to think you had thought about this happening 1,000 times, and when it happened, you didn't have to process a lot of information. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, it was something I definitely thought about. That's something I definitely run over in my head on more than one occasion, and it was just reaction at that point.
Yep, there you go. By the way, I just checked it out. If you go to GoFundMe.com and then under the search, just put in Shannon, Shannon, you'll pop up and people can help you out.
I'm not sure how much time you all have left in this, but one thing I did want to comment on real quick
you bet.
for you.
Go ahead.
Was that if any of you all heard the Michael Graham show where Senator Paul had said that if anyone was to give me an award, he would be honored to be the one to give it to me? Well, the GRAA has actually decided to give me an award, and they are just waiting for Senator Paul to confirm dates and times at this point, from my understanding of things.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations on swift action, smart move. Yeah, it cost you a job, but like you say, there are a lot of jobs out there. So, again, we congratulate you on doing what you're supposed to do. Bear, listen, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I greatly enjoyed it.
All right, you bet. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. What do you think? What would you do? Would you risk your job to carry a gun where you knew that you might need it? Be right back.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Face it, sometimes for some reason, you have to leave a handgun in your vehicle. Secure it with a vehicle vault from Console Vault. 12-gauge plate steel, 3-point locking system, bank vault style hinge pins, drill resistant locks, and easy 10-minute installation. Made in the USA. Safely store other valuables too. Jewelry, hard drives, cell phones. Custom models for most trucks and SUVs. Visit consolevault.com. That's CONSOLE vault.com.
The Ruger 1022 Takedown. A new take on the legendary Ruger 1022. With all of the features and functionality of America's favorite rimfire rifle, the Ruger 1022 Takedown easily separates for convenient storage and transportation. Reassembly is simple and returns the rifle to zero, ensuring precision shot after shot. Packed in a backpack-style bag included with the rifle, the Ruger 1022 Takedown makes it easy to keep America's favorite rimfire by your side.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. GalleryofGuns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, let's go straight to the phones. Jeffrey's been on hold for a while. Appreciate your patience on line 4 out of Oregon. Jeffrey, what's your question, please?
Top of the day to you, Tom.
Thank you.
I'm wondering about Winchester, the lever-action rifles. I'm looking through the 2014 buyer's guide, the complete book of guns, and they're not listed. No Winchesters at all.
Winchester, they make guns, but I don't think they're making the lever actions right now.
Oh. Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right, appreciate that. Yep, that's kind of just where we are right now. Let's see. We're going to line 1 is Ed in Wasilla, Alaska. Reloading, huh, Ed?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Tom.
Sure.
I've reloaded a bunch, but mostly pistol cartridges. And I'm doing a new rifle caliber, a .338 Win Mag, and so I bought a full-length set of dies, and when I ran my cases through the first die to decap them and resize them, and about half of them, it's putting a dent in the side of the case, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Too much lube. You've got too much lube on the cases. What kind of lube are you using on the cases for sizing?
Oh, the RCBS stuff you put on the foam pad, and then you roll your cases in and then run them through the die.
Okay. Back off. What happens is we have a tendency to want to put, keep resupplying that pad with a little bit of lube. Then you're rolling the cases on the top of it. Try this. When you roll the cases on the, by the way, and you can shoot them, that's fine, because it'll take that dent right out.
Yeah, I was just looking, I was like, man, it didn't have a dent when I started. What have I done here?
Yeah. No, what's going on is you got a little bit of lube in there, and you're squeezing it down, and that lube is non-compressible, so something's got to give. Okay. So after you lube it, try to wipe it off. In fact, you might get a cloth that has just the tiniest little bit of lube, and essentially wipe the case off. You don't want it to be dry, but you really almost shouldn't see any lube. But that's what's going on. You've got case lube dent in the side of the case.
Okay, well, yeah, because I've made that mistake before, too, and didn't have enough lube to jam one in there, and wow, what a pain that was.
Well, and that's what happens. We get scared.
Medium, huh?
If you've ever stuck a case, you think, man, I'm going to use some lube now. Now we go a little bit too far. At least too much lube doesn't stick the case in there. But, yeah, back off on the lube a little bit, and that should take care of your problem for you. But in the meantime, go shoot those. After you shoot them, they'll be good as new, and then try it all over again. And, by the way, I love the .338 Win Mag. If you had to say, okay, pick one cartridge for hunting in North America, that would be it every time. That's simply my favorite. And I've shot big stuff and little stuff and faraway stuff and up-close stuff. And you can use all these different great bullets in it. It is one of the great calibers of all time. In fact, use it everywhere other than for real dangerous game in Alaska. You can do anything with a .338. Aren't we lucky? 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. 866-TALK-GUN. Shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com.
Join the NRA via Tom Gresham's Gun Talk website and receive $10 off the regular membership price. Log on to guntalk.com for details. You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Tom would like to remind you that if you have a friend or relative who can't hear Gun Talk locally, many of our stations offer live streaming. Tell them to go to guntalk.com and click the listen button. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you here. I just got an email. I was asking the question, what got you into gun rights, woke you up? Great answer. Guy says, I read Unintended Consequences by John Ross. I have actually a pre-publication author's copy of that. It is a stunning book if you're interested in the subject at all. Unintended Consequences is one that stays with you. I don't know when it came out, 15 years ago, something like that. And I still remember. I remember reading it and thinking during the first half of it, he's just described my life. That's me he's talking about right there. And then it took a twist I did not see coming. Now, having said that, let me just say, as a book reviewer, this is, I don't know, it's a long book, 900 pages, and there's probably a really good 500-page novel in the middle of it. He really seriously needed an editor in there, okay? So, but it is still worth reading. Unintended Consequences by John Ross. By the way, don't forget, we've got the Brownells contest going on. Grand prize includes a deluxe completion kit on an upper receiver, an AR-15 upper receiver. All you have to do is go to guntalk.com/win, W-I-N, for a chance to win that very cool prize. All right, Zach on line 2 has got a range report for us. Zach, tell me about the Daewoo AR-100.
Hey, Tom, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you for everything that you've done for gun rights and all of us shooters out there. We definitely appreciate everything you do. Yeah, I just kind of lucked across this gun. I, to be honest with you, had heard nothing about it prior to me owning it. And I received it from a family member. And I own several AR-15s, higher quality ones, and a couple AK-47s as well. And the AR-100 is by far my favorite modern sporting rifle.
No kidding.
It's built from the ground up as a gas piston rifle, and they're actually made in Colt's old factory that was in South Korea. We basically, the U.S. handed that factory over to the Koreans and said, continue, build whatever gun you want with our tooling. And so it's an extremely well-made firearm, nothing like their cars. But it's just an incredible piece of work, extraordinarily. I probably put about 5,000 rounds through it at this point, and have not had a single malfunction of any type.
Wow.
And this thing is just dead on accurate, far more accurate than any of my ARs that I have.
Son of a gun. And for those who don't know, if we're talking about the Daewoo, it's D-A-E-W-O-O. D-A-E-W-O-O, AR-100.
Yep, and technically it's the same company that makes the cars, except this is Daewoo Precision Industries.
Well, look, I really appreciate getting the range report on that because I have not shot one of the Daewoos, so that's good to know. I know that they're into heavy equipment and make big, industrial things over there, so... But that's pretty interesting. There you go, another range report. Thank you so much for that. All right, everybody, here's your marching orders. Go do some shooting. If you can't get out to the range, I hope by now you have thought ahead and you've got yourself an airsoft gun or a BB gun you can shoot in the basement. Pulling the trigger, man, that's what it's all about. Get yourself an airsoft gun that mimics your carry gun and practice your draw every single day with the airsoft, not with your real gun. Okay? The more you do it, the better you get. As we heard from our guest today, being able to react instantly and quickly can save your life. It very well may have saved his. In the meantime, be safe. Take people shooting with you. Come see us on Gun Talk, guntalk.com. I'll see you next week.